1, 2, 3, come on.
Come on, come on.
Good morning students, this is PK sir, your chemistry sir, welcoming you to the next part of the class chapter acids, bases and salts of class 10 NCERT science. In previous videos we have seen many things which includes qualitative measurement of solutions also. When we talk about qualitative measurement, then we are saying that this solution is concentrated solution and this solution is dilute solution. Okay, so concentrate solution and dilute solution are the two types. Okay, and this is the relative property. Okay, this is the relative measurement. Okay, so all these things and many more things about this chapter we have discussed, we have finished in the previous videos. You can see in the I buttons. Okay, so that is important for you. Next, quantitative measurement of solutions, that is 2.3. We know that acids provides H plus ion. Acids provide H plus ion. We know that acids provide H plus ion, then bases provide OH minus ion, hydroxide or hydroxyl ion. Okay, this is the important thing. Okay, acids provide H plus ion and bases provide OH minus ion in the water. Okay, now when we are talking about quantitative measurement of solutions, now what are the types of solutions? If acid is present in the solution, what am I saying? If acid is present in the solution, then that solution is called acidic solution. And if a base is present or if the solution is containing base, then that is called a basic solution. This is very common thing, very easy thing. Okay, that if an acid is dissolved in water, or simply if an acid is mixed in water, okay, then it is acidic solution. And if a base is mixed in water, then this is basic solution. Okay, now again, if we are taking two solutions and if we are claiming that both of them are concentrate solutions, then how will you find out that this solution is what you call acidic solution and this solution is a basic solution? If both the solutions are present in concentrated form, then so in that situation we need one measurement, one quantitative measurement, okay, by which we can measure the strongness of any acid or any base. Okay, so about this, now how to measure in chemistry lab or in chemistry with the help of a universal indicator. We can measure the quantitatively strongness of the acid or base. Okay, in chemistry lab there are some universal, that is called universal pH paper. Okay, and this universal pH paper is present in different colors. Now I mean the range of pH is different. Okay, if the range of pH of any particular solution is number 1, that is this color, the number 1, that is dark brown color, then the pH of that solution is 1. Okay, so here many strips are there. Just what you need to do is to dip the strip in that solution, particular solution, and then you will get your solution, your answer of that pH, that okay, this the pH of this solution is this one. So this is what you call universal pH paper. Okay, now again the important thing, or again one word which I am using here frequently, that is pH. So our next topic is pH. What is pH? In this pH, P stands for potenge, and this potenge word is a German word, means pH stands for potenge, that is a German word meaning power. Now when we are saying pH, means power of hydrogen. Okay, pH. So pH is the scale of strongness or quantitative measurement of acid or base. Okay, so with the help of pH we used to measure the degree of strongness, okay, of acidic solution or basic solution. Okay, it is just the same as we measure the weight of something like gram, 1 gram, 2 gram, 3 gram, 5 gram, 4 gram. So if any substance is measuring 5 gram, and on the other hand, if another substance is measuring 10 gram, then we easily say that yes, this substance is lighter and this substance is heavier. In the same way, pH is also the measurement. pH is also the quantitative measurement of acids and bases. Okay, so how to calculate, how to understand this quantitative measurement? In your book one diagram is there. The line is not straight, so don't worry, but important thing is that in your textbook one diagram is there, and that diagram is figure 2.6. Figure 2.6. Okay, this is the scale. Just you need to draw it here. Now this scale starts from 0 and the maximum value is here, that is 14, and in between, just here in between, the value is 7. Okay, now this part means that is called neutral. This is called neutral. Okay, this is the value of pH. Okay, pH 0, pH 7, pH 14. Okay, then hereby 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. This is the pH range. Now if the pH of any solution, the pH of any solution is between 0 to 7. If the pH of any solution is between 0 to 7, then we used to say that solution is acidic. That solution is acidic. If it is exactly 7, if the pH of that substance, solution is exactly 7, then that is called neutral. Okay, neutral means what? Neither acidic nor basic. Okay, and if the pH is more than 7, if the pH is more than 7 up to 14, then that is basic. Okay, then the pH range is called basic. Okay, so this is the quantitative measurement of solutions. Quantitative measurement of solutions. Now what is the important thing which is decided by pH? The concentration of H plus ion, or the measurement of H plus ion, or the concentration of OH minus ions present in the solution. Okay, so the concentration or the quantity of H plus ion, that is decided, or that is the indication of strongness of pH. Okay, now when we are moving, in this diagram, when we are moving from this to this, okay, then what we used to say, that pH is increasing. pH is increasing. If pH is increasing, then hydrogen concentration is decreasing. So here we can say that if we are moving from 0 to 7 in this side, then pH is increasing, but the concentration of H plus ion, the concentration of H plus ion, concentration means what? Quantity. The quantity of H plus ion is decreasing. Okay, in this area when we are saying that pH is increasing, okay, from 7 to 14, in that case pH is increasing, but the same way hydrogen ion concentration is increasing. Okay, so that is important for us. So in this diagram, if we move from left to right, pH is increasing, then hydrogen ion concentration is decreasing. Okay, or in another way, if we move from right side to left side, then pH is decreasing. Okay, if pH is decreasing, then H plus ion concentration is increasing. Okay, so H plus ion concentration and pH, they are inversely related. Look here, H plus ion concentration is inversely proportional to pH. Inversely proportional means what? What is the meaning of this relation? Inversely proportional. Inversely proportional means when there are two quantities, when there are two physical quantities, and if we are comparing them, then if one is increasing, if they are inversely proportional, then if one is increasing, then other will decrease in the same proportion. For example, if you are increasing the quantity of H plus ion 2 times, if you are increasing the quantity of H plus ion 2 times, then since they are inversely related, inversely proportional, so in that way the pH of that in that condition will become half. Okay, here it is double, then it is half. If it is 4 times, then it is 1 by 4 times. Okay, so this is called inversely proportional relation. One more relation is there, that is directly proportional. Directly proportional means what? Just imagine that you are driving bike. Okay, just you are driving bike. The race which you are pulling, okay, as much as you pull the race, or just you pull the pressure on the race, the speed increases. Yes, that is called directly proportional. Okay, means if you are pulling that race double, then the race will also, then the speed will also become doubled. Okay, so that is called directly proportional relation. Okay, so this is the concept of quantitative measurement of pH. Now in your textbook one table is there, table 2.2. In that table 2.2, one table is there, table 2.2. In that table many substances are given, and you are asked to check the pH with the help of pH paper. Okay, in that table includes saliva before meal, saliva after meal, lemon juice. Okay, so there are many solutions given in that table, although that this can be done with the help of an activity also, but since again the same problem, corona, so you are not present here, so we cannot perform this activity, okay, so far now. But once you come in the Vidyalaya, in the school, then we will be performing all these activities, okay, together. So this table, what is the importance of this table? Okay, but with the help of this table we come to know that the pH range of particular solution of any substance. Okay, so this is table important for you, not as much as other portions, just you need to know only. Okay, then one figure is there, that is figure 2.7, figure 2.7, that in that figure 2.7 one diagram is there, figure 2.7. In that figure one diagram is there, and in that diagram the pH of some known chemicals is given there. Okay, so in that figure, in this figure, the important one is the pH of blood. What is the pH of blood? That is 7.4. Very important for your exam perspective as well as for your when you are going to appear in competitive exams, then also it will be helpful. Okay, now next, application part of this pH in our daily life. So the next one is application part of pH. Application of pH in our daily life. In our daily life. In our daily life. Okay, that what are the importance? What is the importance of pH in our daily life? Okay, first that sensitivity of plants and animals. Sensitivity of plants and animals. Sensitivity of plants and animals towards pH. Now, most of the plants and animals are very good in the pH range of 7.0 to 7.8. Means this is the optimum pH. What is this called? Optimum pH. Optimum pH for most of the plants as well as animals. This is the good pH or optimum pH. Okay, habitable pH. Okay, if the pH above 7.8 goes, that is dangerous for the sustenance of that particular organism. If the pH is below 7, then also it is a problem for animals and plants. Okay, now sometime you see, or one word is there, rain, and that is acid rain. Simply it is raining. If it is raining, then the pH of that water is around 7. Okay, but when some chemicals are mixed, in that rain, okay, or along with that rain water, then it becomes the pH of that rain becomes below 5.6. Below 5.6. If the pH of water of rain is below 5.6, then that rain is called acid rain. Okay, and that acid rain is very dangerous for plants animals and even non-living surfaces also. Okay, so how it affects the organisms, means living world and non-living world. Okay, living world in the sense that the aquatic life, see, once this acid rain reaches to the oceans or rivers, then it is problematic. It is problematic for aquatic life. They cannot live in this water, in this low pH water. That is dangerous for their life. In the same way, animals also, plants also, the color of, if when this acid rain falls on the leaves of plants, then their chlorophyll and these things are damaged. Okay, and we know very well that chlorophyll is very important for plant because it is useful in the making of their own food, that is called photosynthesis. And for non-living surface, many monuments, many buildings, ancient or historical buildings are there, and due to this acid rain they are also damaged. Okay, so this is the sensitivity of pH towards next. Second number, pH of soil. pH of soil, all of we know that soil is very important for plants, for the better growth and development of plants. Okay, and if the pH of that soil in which the particular plant is growing is not optimum, then the growth or the production from that plant will not be optimum, or what you call that, not a fruitful. Okay, in that condition, what is the solution? If a plant is growing in an adverse pH, then what is the solution? Then we have to anyhow, if the pH is less, then what is the problem? That solution, and that soil is acidic. Okay, and to finish, to counteract the effect of that acid, we need to mix some basic things which are basic in nature. So acid and base, they will react with each other, and then the effect of acid will be minimized. Okay, so this is the effect of pH on soil. Okay, pH of soil. Next, number 3, that is pH in our digestive system. pH in our digestive system. pH in our digestive system. All of you know that in our digestive system, stomach is there. Yes, in that stomach some cells are there in the wall of stomach, and they secrete one chemical, and that chemical is called hydrochloric acid. Okay, so this hydrochloric acid is produced by the lining, by the wall of stomach. Okay, what is this? Stomach. Now what happens when we are facing the problem of indigestion? In that condition, in that situation, our stomach produces more amount of HCl. Our stomach produces more amount of hydrochloric acid, and that hydrochloric acid, the more quantity of that hydrochloric acid is harmful for us. It starts paining in that stomach part. Okay, itching is there. Now what is the solution of this problem? Whenever we feel this one, then we start belching. we start belching. That is also a problem for others. What is the solution of this problem? Since it is an acid and the effect of acid can be finished, can be terminated with the help of a base, so it is the acid. Now what we have to take is any base, and that base should be mild base. Okay, nowadays in market we are using many brands containing mild base, and in this mild base one important substance is present, chemical is present, that is magnesium hydroxide, commonly which is called milk of magnesia, magnesium hydroxide. And this is the important constituent, this is the important constituents of ENO on acidity gone. That is very famous slogan of this brand, ENO on acidity gone. Okay, so actually what is present in this ENO, that is a mild base magnesium hydroxide, which is commonly called milk of magnesia. What is this called? Milk of magnesia. This is the common name of this compound, this chemical. Okay, milk of magnesia. So this milk of magnesia, that is as a mild base, is available, is present in this ENO. Okay, along with flavor, whatever flavor you like, that is available in market. So with the help of this one it can be terminated. Now suppose ENO is not there. If you are not able to get ENO from market, or you are away from market, what is the solution? If you have this one, what is this, chalk piece? If you have this one, and if you try to take some small amount of this one and then take with water, it will also work. Okay, because in this one what is there? Calcium oxide, and when this calcium oxide reacts with water, then it forms calcium hydroxide. This calcium hydroxide is what? A base. It is also a base. This is also a base. So this base will react with this one, and the effect of this calcium, this over acid, will be finished in this way. Okay. Next important is number 4. Tooth decay. The problem of tooth decay. The problem of tooth decay. What is tooth decay? How it is cured, or what is the reason? What is the cause of this tooth decay? See, our teeth are very strong, because they contain one inorganic substance, and that inorganic substance is this is the inorganic substance present in our teeth in the form of enamel. Enamel is white colored substance present over the surface of this our teeth, that is made up of calcium phosphate, and this is very strong. Okay, it is very strong. Now what happens when we are eating at that time, suppose you are taking your dinner, and without brushing, if you are going to bed, if you are going to sleep, then what will happen? Bacteria are always present in our mouth, in our buccal cavity, and they also need food. For their survival, their life. Okay, so they will start working, they will start reacting on that remains of food which are stuck between two teeth. Suppose this is your teeth, and between this place some food particles are stuck, and these food particles are the dinner of bacteria. Okay, now when bacteria starts reacting on this remains of food, then acids are produced in this reaction. Acids are produced in this reaction by bacteria, and that acid is harmful for this substance. Okay, that acid is harmful for that substance. So then the enamel part, that white part of the teeth starts degrading, and in this way, if the enamel is removed, some part, very minute part of enamel is if removed, then we feel the problem of sensitivity. What is sensitivity? If you remember the break, that advertisement, Sensodyne, okay, in that Sensodyne also they are talking about sensitivity of teeth. What is that? If you are taking hot, you feel some pain, very severe pain, acute pain, okay, and if you are taking some cold like ice cream or something, cold drinks, say very cold, chilled, then also you feel some pain in your teeth. That is called sensitivity. That is because of exposure of our nerves present in the teeth due to the breakdown or due to the loss of this enamel part. Okay, so what is the solution of this tooth decay? What is the solution of this tooth decay? Only simple one: keep regular brushing to your teeth after meal. That is important for us. Okay, next number 5, self-defense mechanism. Self-defense mechanism. Self-defense mechanism. In the nature, plants, many things, many defense mechanisms are present. Okay, especially there are some plants when you are touching them, or by mistake if the plants are touched over your body, then some stinging cells are present. Okay, and that stinging cells will sting to your body, your skin, and you will feel some pain. Okay, so that pain is due to presence of an acid, In the same way, that is for plants. Now, what is the solution of this problem? Just nearby that plant, when another plant is there, and the solution of that plant's leaf, the solution or that extract of that plant's leaf, if you rub on that affected area, then you will get relieved very soon. Okay, so that is for plants. Now animals also, very famous example, honeybee, very important for us. Honeybee, if in the world honeybee is over, all the honeybees are finished, then it will take no time to get extinct the humanities or the human civilization. They are very important for us. Honeybees, they are producing honey for us, but on the same time they are also dangerous, as they sting us if you are disturbing them. If you are violating their area, their territory, then they will sting you, and in that sting they inject an acid into your body, and that acid is called formic acid. So that is the defense mechanism of this animal, that is honeybee. Okay, now if you just put some baking soda or like any mild base on that surface, it will relieved soon. Okay, that irritation, that pain which is caused due to this honeybee sting, that will be relieved. Okay, so this is the end of the video, and keep revising all the previous things. Okay, surely we will meet in the next part. Till then, take care and bye bye.